How you doing, everybody? Jonathan here, and in this video I'm going to go over what you should do as a fitness professional when a client cancels. I personally went through this like a couple of days ago. One of my favorite clients who I've had for a couple of years expressed that she would no longer be doing my boot camp, at least for the time being, and it's something that I've learned to mature with. As I remember when I first started, if somebody canceled, I would completely freak out, and you may find my thumbnail to be a little bit overly dramatic, but when you grow close to your client, it can feel like the end of a relationship, and I've seen a lot of trainers struggle with this. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to deal with this to make sure that your business stays afloat, and then you can perhaps get this client back in the future. But before I do, if you have not yet, make sure to click on that link up there and subscribe to my newsletter, as I send out short articles every Monday on how to see success in the fitness industry. If you just happen to stumble upon this video, make sure to click on the YouTube icon and subscribe to this channel, as I make videos every Wednesday based on questions I get the most. And as always, if you've already subscribed to both my newsletter and to the YouTube channel, thank you very much for your support. And if you find the information in this video helpful, please click on the like button below the video player, because every like that I get helps this channel. All right, so long story short, one of my favorite clients in one of my busiest classes has been doing 3 months at a time for the past year and a half. And she told me that she won't be renewing her 3 months come July. And of course, I took this hard because I like this client. This client works hard. She's come a long way. She's lost a lot of weight. And she's been with me since like 2013. So I remember back to when I first started my boot camp, how hard it was when a client canceled. And I remember mentoring another trainer who lost a client when he was running his boot camp, and it was very difficult for him. So I want to make sure that you guys understand, this is a business, and how to get over this, and how to make sure that you can leave the door open for the client to come back. So I'm going to give you 6 points to remember as a fitness professional. The number one thing is don't freak out. All right. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible trainer. It doesn't mean that you suck. You have to understand that people leave and come for different reasons. Maybe there's a change in their job situation, like there is with this client. Maybe they just want to try something new, which is okay. You have to understand that you don't own anybody. And when you have that understanding that there's give and take in everything, things come and go, you'll understand, as I do, that as this client goes, it gives me an opportunity to train a new client, to get them their results. And this client may or may not come back, but I've done my job, and no trainer is going to hold their client forever. So you have to understand that it was going to end eventually, so you can't freak out and then start to hate yourself. The second thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to get angry at the client. This is one of the things that the trainer that I mentored really struggled with. They would often get offended and say, hey, why are you leaving? What are you doing? What did I do wrong? And that's not the approach that you want to take, as it tends to create discomfort with the client, especially if they decide to cancel with you the right way. They just tell you, it's time for a change, or I'm going to take some time off. Whatever the case may be, you have to understand that the client doesn't really owe you that deep of an explanation. All right, it's their money, it's your service. You could decide to pack up your boot camp at any time. They could decide to end their contract at any time. So you don't want to badger the client, all right, as that completely closes the door for the client to change their mind after they think greener pastures are out there. They realize they had a good thing with you. So make sure that the terms under which you guys separate are always good. The third thing that you don't want to do is you don't want to, because they're trying to cancel, offer them a huge discount, all right? As that is something that Philip used to always do. He would think that the only reason that a client leaves is money or price, all right? And two things. It might be money or price, but you don't want somebody to think that all they have to do is threaten to leave for you to change. I have Verizon, I'll often say, oh, I'm thinking about switching to Optimum, and they'll give me a discount because I know they're going to do that. This is a huge company. They can afford to do things like that. Whereas where you have a small number of clients, they may talk to each other if you have a boot camp, or they may know each other if you're in personal training, and people talk, all right? As friends, they're not going to try to protect your business structure if you're not going to, and they'll just say, hey, I said I was going to quit. The trainer gave me 10% off, 20% off. So all you got to do is threaten to quit, and then you lose your credibility as a business person. So you don't want to offer a discount just because they decided to leave. The fourth point is that you always want to leave the door open. So when I got this text from Lori, and she's going to be with me for a couple more weeks, so she's going to be done at the beginning of next month. All right, I already told her, hey, listen, I'm going to be sorry to see you go, but you know, we still have another couple weeks left. Let's blow the door off of this month and let's make the best of it. All right, so our last couple sessions are going to be very positive, and I'm always going to let her know on her last few days, hey, listen, if you ever want to come back, I'll be more than happy to have you. And when you show that kind of confidence, when the client sees you in the supermarket, or when you see your client out at a ball game, whatever the case may be, a city function, they're not going to try to avoid you thinking that you're going to try to hard sell them something. Point number 5 is that even if you're not continually training the client, you should always be in some kind of communication with them, all right? In my Dumbbells to Dollars course, I talk about making sure everybody always has access to you through a newsletter, all right? And when somebody joins my boot camp, or if I take on a client, they're always going to be added onto my newsletter. So whether or not they're with me, it doesn't cost me anything to have another subscriber. I constantly keep a flow of information going to that client so that if things don't work out in whatever area they're in, or if their financial situation changes, they go like, you know what, that Jonathan, that boot camp, that was really good. You know what, I'm gonna give him a call. But out of sight, out of mind. You don't need to constantly call the client, but if you have a continual scheduled way of communicating with your current clients, that client is always gonna be around, all right? You're always going to be around that client, and there'll always be an avenue for them to contact you. I have a regular offer where if you've been out of my boot camp for 6 months or more, you can restart the boot camp for $29. And I can't tell you how many people have left and then a couple months later, or maybe even a couple years later, come back because they have access to that offer. And then a lot of the times the people stay on long term. So you have to have a scheduled means of getting them back. However, you don't want to freak out and give them something that you wouldn't normally do. The sixth and the last point will help you to avoid that anxiety that you get when you lose a client, because oftentimes when you lose a client, you think about the money that you're losing. I'm not worried about that. This client is going to go and she will immediately be replaced with somebody who's been on my waiting list for a long time. All right. And that's because I am always selling through the newsletter, through Groupon, through Facebook, through my social media. I'm always keeping information going out to prospective clients. And if people are interested in my services, I let them know, hey, listen, you can secure a spot with my deal. And then when I can get you into the boot camp or into the training or my services, I'll get you in off of my waiting list. So as soon as she goes, somebody else will replace them. And you may be thinking as a personal trainer, well, I have personal training clients, or I work in a gym and I can't necessarily just replace my 6:30 slot. The main reason that I advocate group training is so that you don't have to replace one slot with one person. I think every trainer should be offering small group training, especially for the prime time hours. So let's say if you have a class with a maximum of 4 people, if one person leaves, you can immediately fill somebody in because it costs less in personal training. And then you can often do like trials within your small group training and then hold somebody on your waiting list. When one person leaves, you can fill them up with one other person. All right. So if you've never done small group training, my Dumbbells to Dollars course teaches not to just rely on personal training, because if one person leaves, all of a sudden you now have the anxiety of filling that slot. However, with small group training, while you maintain your current paying clients, you can let people in to try out your services. They may be interested. You can move them from another slot. You can email them to let them know, and you never lose any momentum in training. That's your main thing. You don't want to be stuck and all of a sudden you have 6 p.m. and you don't have any clients, or you had a client, you gave them away because you thought you were going to have this client forever and now they're gone. All right, so definitely explore the opportunity of small group training. If you want a great resource on how to implement that, I definitely recommend that you check out my Dumbbells to Dollars course, as it goes over how to transfer your personal training to small group training to possibly even a boot camp, how to do nutrition training, how to market your business, and it's eligible so that you can earn CEUs to keep your certification current. So definitely, if you want more information on the course, I recommend that you click on that image right there. But that's about it. I hope you found this information helpful. Remember, if you have any questions or comments, comment below. I'm here every Wednesday based on questions that I get. So if you have any questions, send them my way, as your questions fuel the content on this channel. So keep the lines of communication open. Comment below, send your questions, check out the courses if they apply to you. And as always, remember to eat healthy, hydrate, drive safe, stress levels low, get rest. Don't slap anybody. Love your clients, they will love you back. I'll see y'all tomorrow or the next day, and you have a good one.